Hello, my name is Welcome to LogansStory. Today's event at Disney is the 1960s and the reach and rise of what's next for the Disney company. Thank you for coming. Let's get into it. Alright, so a lot of things implemented in this decade. A decade full of real life, entities coming through on a large scale. That being as it may, there's a lot more to say than what meets the eye, because Disney as a whole created a phenomenon in terms of new technologies, in terms of new movies that will finally score Disney as a masterpiece, a master maker. But what does that mean internally for the company? Well, when a fire starts going, it starts running. When a fire starts to burn, it starts to burn brightly. And this is what Disney did in the 1960s. He opened a park with a new ride, Carousel of Progress, and after he died, there was still some stuff that was still being implemented. One of which was his implementation towards Epcot, and a working city in the lands of Florida. What does that mean? How big of a brain does this guy have? How big of an intuition does Disney have? Well, if you look at everything that we know now, and when you look at everything that's inconsequential to who Disney is, you would see a master maker behind every disguise. Like, he carried a lot of hats. Animator, filmmaker, park operator, everything you may know. He was going off the rails in the 60s in terms of audio animatronics and in terms of new attractions like the Enchanted Tiki Room, and more attractions that were by design in terms of Disney, like Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion. We find that in this event in the 1960s reach a new scale every single year in the decade. But that's not it. That can't be it. What are the nooks and crannies that make Disney in the 60s so important? Well, let's go into detail. So, when you think about Disney in the 1960s, it's, like I said, a derailment of what happened in the 50s. It's enhancing in terms of what Disney could possibly do. I mean, he's dealing with mechanical engineering, civil engineering, every sort of engineering that you could have. And he calls these engineers Imagineers. And because of that, his park really opened up a lot of avenues in terms of what he can do versus at what is impossible. He took that and implementation of what's impossible and made it possible. That's what Disney did. Walt Disney did. And he's remembered for it. He's remembered for all his accomplishments in film. He's remembered for Disneyland. He's remembered for what implementations happened in the Disney company. But unfortunately, in 1966, he died. And leaving everything towards Roy Disney to take up what we know now as the Epcot project. And, well, we end up with a sour taste in our mouths. What does Disney do from here? Well, to answer that, application of course. Disney does not halt just because one man dies. And I think Disney himself will want the company to keep going. And they did. They brought to light everything that was Disney Company. And the start was the building of Disney World. And everyone in it surprisingly took over for Walt Disney in terms of his vision. Now, they don't have his full vision. The only person that can give you his full vision is Walt Disney himself. He's not there. So, they have to think of things that are new and improved based on the formula that Disney presents. And that's something that's kind of crazy. And what can you do with all that? And what does it mean to you and I? Well, if you believe in yourself not having that stoppage point for a lot of things, and the building blocks that you want to have for a company, for marriage, for a life that you want, then it takes going with the new. Not disregarding the person who had a plan for it, but given a new vision, given a new perspective, you can create things that are so great and so grand. And just because the head is not there anymore doesn't mean the team should stop. So, what are you doing in your life to make sure your team doesn't stop even when a leader is not there? Thank you for gathering the application, and let's continue forward. Thank you for watching the story. Thank you for doing this events at Disney. There are more events at a later date, so keep an eye out for those. Also, the mission is 1,000 subscribers. You guys are going to get there by hitting the share, like, and subscribe button right on the screen. Also, by hitting that bell. Leave a comment if you can, too. Thank you again, and peace.